Hello everyone, this is Ross from Retro Dream Beam. I'm an eBay seller full-time. I've been doing this with my fiance Netta for more than 3 years now. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm about to go into all the crazy stuff we were shipping out today on Thursday. A lot of like home goods and also some nerdy stuff. All right, so the first thing right here is going to be, I've been listing a ton of these Warhammer 40K vintage and also fantasy, vintage Warhammer 40K and fantasy bits and pieces. Just literally a random box. I'll probably get like a couple hundred listings out of it. I'll do like 50 or 70 or 80 different pieces, take the pictures and move on. Anything that I think I can sell individually, maybe it's still like on a sprue, I'll set aside to work on later. So I've been listing that for a few days. This pack of 50 sold for, or 50 plus, sold for $15 plus shipping, or actually, yeah, $15 plus shipping is going to a repeat buyer. Everything's going to be plus shipping. Sorry, I'm a little out of it. It's a lot to go through. All right, next up is going to be Trim a Home. This is a vinyl tablecloth cover, very good quality one. We used to get this kind of stuff at estate sales. It's been a long time since this kind of stuff was selling more in 2020, 2021, like cool like tablecloths and stuff that people will use to set up dinner tables. This one's actually pretty good quality one. It just has like good art for someone. So this is obviously probably for the holidays. But yeah, this ended up going for $16, all types of different materials and images and sizes. You just have to be careful with explaining like what sizes it is. Obviously on the package, like in the corner here, it explains it. So, all right, next up is going to be DC HeroClix. This is going to be the Justice League. This is going to be the Teleporter. So I don't remember this one in particular, but HeroClix is going to be like the Marvel DC game where you have the characters on like those Oreo bases and their stats are on there, and then they click when they take damage, which is where HeroClix comes from. They usually have these like extra special objects or vehicles, or they'll have the Colossus figures and sometimes stuff you don't have to get randomly. Normally they're random in booster packs. You can just go ahead and buy them. They'll have like rule sets. I don't know what this one particularly does, but people do use these things and collect them. I got a couple of these, so I already relisted one at the storage unit when I was there. This ended up going for $6.75. So yeah, that wasn't like a huge winner, but it was easy to list. All right, moving along, we have another item for a repeat buyer. This is going to be Descent Journeys in the Dark. I want to say this is going to be, I don't know if this is second edition. I want to say first edition just because my copy did not have this. This is going to be the golden XP log right here. So you keep track of all the heroes' experience, and then you keep track of the overlord's experience, and then the hero's gold. So this is going to be a fantasy game where there's a bunch of heroes and there's someone plays the overlord. You go through a whole campaign, keep track of it here. This one's like a little pad, so you get to play it multiple times. That would take a long time to play that many times. But yeah, you'll play the whole campaign, and depending on who wins and loses, there's different rewards, and there's different consequences, and even different scenarios you play to follow along the story. So $6.50 for just this one notepad. Someone probably also, maybe they have the second edition like me and they've never seen that before. Normally I just go to the rule book or I go online, find the file, print it out. But this is like a cool little thing you can actually keep in your board game box. All right, next up, it's only 60% complete. I would do that for these box sets. This is going to be hats right here, World War I U.S. Infantry. I don't get World War I like miniatures often, so when I do get them, they usually sell a little bit faster probably than the World War II. They're just more rare, I guess. So these are like the box sets for these particular different companies. I've seen this hat company before. They make cheaper miniatures, so they're going to be like a plastic, so people paint them up and use them. This ended up going for $14, so even though it's only 60% complete, it's still fine. At this point, I would probably put like incomplete or something. I was doing like a different title back then, because it would be like, oh, this has 48 pieces, and then I would just do the math for how many would actually still be in there. All right. Next up is going to be this Russ. Is it Russ Berry? Yeah, Russ Berry & Co. Sorry, I'll bring my little phone here. This is going to be a Christmas mouse. I've been selling a lot of plushies recently, so I guess they're kind of in right now. I have a good amount of plushies listed, probably like 50 to 100, and I probably have another 50 or so to go through. Not my favorite category. We got them in like 2021 when they were like really cheap, like quarters or less. You can just get a bunch. So we would pick up the ones that had like tags or that were like better quality looking. Like Anetta was the one that grabbed more of these, but I picked up some as well. This one actually has a vintage Christmas tag, and then someone wrote like a Christmas note on it. I obviously denoted that in the pictures and also in the title, but yeah, $5 for this one. Nothing too fancy for that, but it's a cute looking mouse, probably like a little gift. All right, moving along, it's been a little bit since I've sold an action figure. I get a lot of like the medium quality or like the lower, like the more clearance ones, I guess. This is Star Trek Space Talk series. This is going to be, who is this actually? I actually don't know. It says Bonjour, mon captain. Yeah, I don't know who this is. All right. Oh, Q, I think. All right. never seen Star Trek other than like one of the modern movies. I don't know, in like 2010 or whatever, they like made one of those movies. I understand a lot of people like the series and all the TV shows and the movies. It's more of like a, you know, what will society be on like this spaceship with a bunch of different like aliens and races all together, and then they have like a bunch of different like problems that they're trying to solve, or different adventures or drama that happens. What? I don't know if it's like Mass Effect. I don't know if Star Trek is. I've played the Mass Effect series for the first time last year, so I'm not sure if Mass Effect. Annetta was just shouting at me like Mass Effect, but yeah, this figure sold for $12. I get a bunch of these. I would get them like they're kind of easy to find at auctions where like someone will put like, you know, 10, 15, 20 action figures. They'll put one like I call it like a bait figure in the top where it's like, oh well, that one's a Lord of the Rings one. You look it up and it's kind of like the price. So you're like, okay, well I can get $20 for that one, and everything else is like extra. That's kind of like the auctions that we would get. We would spend $5-10. I don't know if I would get them as often these days, but we did get a lot of cheap, like $5-10 auctions where you get a bunch of lower to the ground action figures. All right, $12 for that. I do know people like Star Trek just because I don't know much about it. I just don't have time for all of this stuff, if that makes sense. All right, moving along. I forgot I had this. This is going to be 5 Lord of the Chorus, like collectible card. Well, I don't actually, it's not collectible. I think it's just like a board game. So you buy the packs and you get it. This is going to be a satirical, like music theory card game. There you go. There's a lot of board games and card games that have like a bunch of different themes. This one's supposed to be funny. This first pack is, these are all first edition. They probably did that as like, you know, a joke, like there's a first edition cards. But yeah, this is Who Let the Chords Out. That's like the one pack. But there's 5 of these booster packs. They are expansions. It is a game people play. This is went for $10.80. I'll pick up stuff even though if it's like weird and kind of out there, because people play all sorts of stuff or collect it, or it's just funny. Could be like a gag gift. You never know. All right, moving along, we have this. This is going to be Dark Crusade, The War in the East, World War II game. This is going to be a bookcase game right here. Has like the typical box, corners and all that are good. It's complete. This is also by Worldwide War Games right there. 3W right there. That's a lot of their stuff. Only $9.07. So this probably doesn't play as well as some of the other military games. There's a ton of them out there. I've never really played any of them, but like I know a lot of people collect them, and there are some really expensive ones as well. All right, speaking of like the war games, we have Strategy and Tactics, American Civil War board game. This is going to be just the did I put map there? I'll have to look later on. Map encounters only. Maybe, oh yeah, there is the map. Okay, the map. I almost freaked out. I was like, did I mess up the listing? I thought this was one of those comic book covers right here. That's just like the back of the map. A lot of these maps are usually double-sided, so I just threw myself for the loop there. But yeah, this doesn't have the rules. This is going to be like from Strategy and Tactics. I don't know how many magazines they have, but it's kind of similar to C3I magazines where they come with these inserts, games, extra errata tokens, extra cards for stuff, sometimes updates, sometimes just extra stuff, and sometimes full-fledged games. So that's what this is. Sorry, I had to look at my pictures. This ended up going for $11. All right. I get that stuff all the time. I usually get it in bits and pieces. Like I don't have it with the magazine, but it's probably more important than the magazine. The whole thing together is the best, obviously. All right, moving along, we have Napoleonic little metal miniatures right here. Got 2 of these like artillery cannons that someone has to build up. I had a note to relist these. These are the relisted ones because I had more. They end up selling as a pair of 2. I also have like an individual one still listed. Yes, I do really well with these Napoleonic miniatures. They end up going to repeat buyer for $11.99. All right, next up, I could not identify what board game this was from. These are going to be like a lot. I put like a lot of 53. They almost look like naval ship board game meeple. They're wooden meeple bits and pieces. Where is it? I have stuff all over the place right now. Oh, I found them. They were like in a baggie. This is in the bottom of the bin at the storage unit, so it's painful getting to them. So yeah, bunch of different wooden pieces. A lot of them look like boats. Just couldn't figure out what game it went to. I still list them, take good pictures, put a bunch of like you know, naval, boats, wooden, board game, worker placement, just pieces, just a bunch of keywords, hoping someone finds it. Someone did. $14.40. Even as unidentified, I still got decent money for that. All right. Next up is going to be a Flux expansion. This is going to be Fluxes by Looney Labs. They do a bunch of this game where the rules are constantly changing with cards, which is why it's called Flux. I think you play a card and then draw a card, and then there's going to be a rule set in the middle and how you win the game. And then people can eventually play a new rule set, which changes how you win. So it's always in Flux. That's the point of the game. They have a bunch of expansions. They have a bunch of, yeah, like a ton, probably over like 100, honestly. So this is going to be a tabletop day expansion pack. So just some extra cards you can throw into any Flux, I believe. You can do any of them. This was when Will Wheaton and them, Felicia Day, they did a YouTube board game channel. I don't think they're around anymore for that particular YouTube channel. A lot of people liked it. They would play board games around like a table. Then they would do in the moment interviews where they would like pull someone out and then, they would talk about the play that they just did. A lot of people liked it. So like people liked the characters. So yeah, someone grabbed this. I have a bunch of this particular Flux expansion. I have probably 30 of these packs. So I only listed one at a time. There's no need to list quantity because someone doesn't need more of the same thing. So I relisted it when I was at the storage unit, $6.29. Nothing literally fancy, but I can just resell similar whenever it sells, and then someone else will eventually pick it up. All right. I also have offers on, so if it keeps selling quickly, I can always raise the price. All right, next up, this item I actually wanted to keep when it sold. I'm not going to. The person bought it. It was one of those things I listed where I was like, you know what? If this doesn't sell in a year, I actually want to keep it. So this is, unfortunately, I have it baggied, but this is going to be an Ultra Pro dice tray. This is where people used to throw their dice into, so it doesn't go chuck all over the table and fall off onto the ground. I know people that throw dice like that. It's miserable observing people who are crazy with their dice. So yeah, it has Ultra Pro somewhere. It has this nice velvet felt. Velvet? No, it's not a cake. It has a felt down there. Really nice. Dice trays and dice towers are kind of hard to find in general. There's not that many companies that make a bunch of them are known to make the best ones. There's a lot of custom ones, a lot of stuff that this is Ultra Pro, so they do a bunch of accessories in the card game category. So they're kind of at some point they're why not? They make one. They don't sell really fast or a lot, so they probably get rid of the SKU line, and then these things are kind of hard to find. So people look for specific sizes and stuff. I know I'm really talking a lot about this. I'm always on the lookout for good dice trays or dice towers. This one for $23.99. So it sold without an offer, and 95% of our stuff sells an offer. So someone's going to appreciate that, even though I wanted to keep it if it didn't sell for a year. All right. Next up, we have this. This is Bogey, little monkey. You can't see it, but he has this tufts of hair. So it looks like it's a super cute plushie. It says it's from Shirt Tales. I don't know too much about this particular one, but like I said, I know I picked out a bunch of plushies 2020, 2021, and now they've been selling probably as gifts, $9.07 for the monkey with his little tuft of hair on the top. All right, moving along. I did not know this thing existed until I got them. These are 6mm miniatures for Warhammer 40K. I think it's called Epic. I believe these are going to be Eldar jet bikes. Eldar is the race. Jet bikes are just the figures on the little bikes. Super tiny. I actually like the concept of these tiny miniatures. I got some, I think it was some war ones, and there was terrain houses that were 4mm or 6 or something that I got I think earlier in the year, and I saw someone painted them, and I sold most of them. I was like, this is really cool. I would never really thought how cool it would be to have a bunch of really tiny actual miniatures, because then you can put them in a container. It'd be easy to move around, relatively easy to paint. I would imagine it would be hard to paint, but then when I was talking to someone about it, they're like, no, you just do your little base coats, and then you do details, and then when you're looking at it tiny stuff from up here, it looks good. So $12 for these Epic Warhammer Eldar jet bikes right there. All right, next up, also category I don't know too much about, but we got a couple hundred of these records for free. This is Burt Reynolds right here. Yeah, this one's actually pretty good quality compared to the other cases that I got. All of the actual records are pretty good. I barely had to throw out any. Some had terrible cracks or huge gashes and scratches from that free collection. But yeah, this ended up going for $24. This is actually on the higher end for what we've been getting for these records. There wasn't any huge winners. I think the most expensive one we sold was $45, which is good for free. I'm not complaining. Most of them, even all of them, sold at $8 for 200 of them. That's $1,600. That's a lot. You know what I mean? So, all right, moving along, we have WizKids Crimson Skies right here. Collectible miniatures game. I've gotten a couple. I keep finding this particular set. I don't know too much about the game other than it's by WizKids, and I think it's just a game where you're using planes or jet fighters and stuff. I want to say, I don't know if it's fiction or nonfiction. Yeah, I don't really want to say because I don't really know. I know I have some I've sold a couple of the miniatures. They don't sell for too much. This is just has a bunch of rules and campaigns and all the accessories. This one for $16. I think I have a couple of these listed at various completion points. Some of them is oh, it's missing one sheet or one rule book or something. So someone's going to appreciate it. $16 for that. All right. Next up is going to be 3 Battlefield Evolution, which is going to be a miniature game. These are tanks. I didn't know what these were until someone during the live told me what they were. These are going to be British Army Challenger 2s right here, but they also mentioned to me that people don't really play the game as much. They just like the tanks, that they're like cheap enough, but also like good enough quality for what people use them for other stuff. So 3 of them to repeat buyers. Oh, this one was a combo order, but they paid at a bunch of different times. So they got that for 10 bucks. So instead of trying to do the quick math, I'll just go through items one at a time. Then they got like a lot of bits and pieces for some other tank. Completely different game. It wasn't the Battlefield Evolutions. I can't find it right now. I'm not too sure why. It's probably like, all right, I'll move on. It was 7 bits and pieces. Oh, it's over here. I put all the combo order stuff in here. So I would keep track of it. I thought I would remember that I would put them here. Sorry, guys. All right, this is going to be 11 bits and pieces for the tank right there. So like tank bits and pieces. That went for $7. They got this really cool, I got like a bunch of this collection of styrofoam. I think it was custom. I don't know if like a company made these, but they were like wargaming terrain and almost looked like 40K or Sci-Fi, maybe Battletech. But yeah, you can't see it here, but this is going to be a cool stair that has like this like cool blue like spray paint lining on it up to the steps, so that someone's going to use it as like, you know, height advantage. Then these pieces were super cool. This one was like, I had a bunch of these. This is the last one that I sold. I had variations of this. So there's the door. They also have a lid right here that opens up. This is like painted. So then, you know, squads could be in there. And then this is a really cool, nice piece right here. So I find a lot of this terrain, wargaming terrain, all the time. Sometimes I hold back on like on auctions and stuff and bidding on it because they are big. But I do enjoy them, and then when someone wants them, they kind of get like a little collection of them. This person only got 2 of them. Well, they also got the other stuff, but yeah, there's just like people use them. All right, that was 15. This was 10. There was the tanks for 10, the pieces for 7, and then they also got this styrofoam. It was rocks. Where did I put? Oh, the rocks. Where did I put the rocks? I hope I didn't forget them. All right, I'll have to look later. I also got some. There was also some like rocks, styrofoam. All right. Oh, if I have to go back to the storage unit, that's gonna be miserable. I might have to. All right, last item for the day. We got some Magic the Gathering bulk cards, black, common, and uncommon. It's the 5 different colors. These were like nothing special. I do lay out my bulk lots. I show all of the names so people can see what they're getting. I bid up to like 55 bucks for a bunch of Magic the Gathering stuff. I should not have done it. I ended up making money on it, but when I got it, most of the cards were like, the highest value of the card was like $2. I'm like, oh, I got burned. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna make like bulk lots. People still like to go through chunks of cards. They might do like a wacky draft or something with their friends. It might be like, okay, you can only use commons and uncommons. Let's go buy some packs, like redone packs and stuff. So I'll make like lots of stuff. So $8.40 for this. So I got lucky to sell that, and someone's can appreciate them and just, you know, use them. All right. That's everything. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you like help support us. Take a look at our links down below. Have a good one. Oh, here's the styrofoam like rocks, like walls.